The charity event Thankmas is December 11th. If you would like to join in and make your own Tiltify account, now is the time. Tableflip will be joining us. We'll be playing some Sonic Adventure 2 in the morning, but later on he'll be joining us, maybe some other friends even, and we'll see what we'll do on that day. But again, if you've been wanting to do charity and haven't really figured out how to, this might be your opportunity. Make sure to go set that up. Also, I'm recording this video at like 1 a.m. out in my car. It is like freezing temperatures. It's like 32 degrees, which is 0 Celsius. So I don't want any angry DMs about that though, because I did bundle up. I know some people get on me for being a workaholic, but trust me, I have it covered. I have a good hat on and everything. I'm not a workaholic. What this is this has the better sound quality when I'm out here, and you have to take those opportunities to record when you can. Sorry. So no DMs like, how dare you, dude, blah, blah, blah. I'm fine. It's okay. However, because it is cold, I have been like gagging, I guess, on the cold air. I don't know about that. I should be used to it. I've been up here like all my life, but we did drop severely from like 60s, almost 70 degree weather straight down to like 32 in a day's time. So maybe the drop is what's kicking my butt right now. But anyways, so if I ramble in this video or if I like cough in this video, that's why. I also apologize. Now let's get into the video proper. Part 3, about talking about my friends. Part 1, talked about how fun it is to game with friends, how much fun that's been of experience this year. Part 2, talked about how much of a whim that's been on, because a lot of these ideas were just born on a whim. They really weren't scripted, edited, or like pre-recorded or anything. We just did them. Part 3 is going to be highlighting maybe some behind the scenes stuff or some things some of these people represent, some funny things that they've done that maybe weren't in videos that you'd never know about them as a person through just the videos by themselves. So with that being said, one of the first things I want to talk about and tackle though is I have talked about that I think these people are very hilarious. Some of them don't think so, and they're wrong. I get to make the rules on this one, my video. That's how that works. You are funny. However, I want to remind people that some people, in case this is why you think you're not funny, is because you don't think you're necessarily the funniest person in the room, or you don't think you could hold like a stand-up 1 hour special on Netflix. You don't have to be the very best in an industry to still be one of the best or great in an industry. Just keep that in mind. Not even just for comedy, period. You don't have to be the best, mechanic. You don't have to be the best artist. You don't have to be the best anything that you do. You don't have to be that number 1 spot to still be great at it. So keep that in mind. But for 2, one of the things I also want to highlight is that a lot of us bounce off of each other even. So even if you don't think you solo are funny, maybe you're still funny in a squad, and that's perfectly okay. The analogy I'm going to use is Power Rangers. We love Power Rangers, right? 90% of the reason I watched Power Rangers was the fighting explosions, don't get me wrong. And at recess, I always got to be like TJ, the Red Turbo Ranger, or TJ, the Blue Space Ranger, or Damon, the Green Lost Galaxy Ranger, which I'm sorry, but do I look like someone that can maintenance the Astro Megaship? If you said yes, thank you, but you're a liar. No one could. That thing had the Mega Accelerator, making it the fastest ship in the known and unknown galaxy, and a food synthesizer that could just make any food indefinitely. Furthermore, it apparently had infinite fuel, so no one on our planet could maintenance the Astro Megaship. I appreciate it though. The Megaship is my favorite fictional ship of all time. Journey's End Part 2 didn't exist, and Loco Sasuke, you crazy? But with that being said, I always had to be Joel whenever we played Lightspeed Rescue at recess. And I'm realizing a pattern. Even though Miss Fairweather was cool and she was fire, I'm realizing a pattern now that I'm saying this out loud, that I'm just going to wrap this part up and say, hey, okay. So like in Danganronpa, for example, everybody has like an ultimate talent, okay? Something that they're proficient in. But the difference with Power Rangers, and I'll use Lightspeed Rescue as that example, because it's underrated, and also it's like the closest to like a Danganronpa Power Rangers, because all the Rangers that were recruited had a special talent of some sort that they excelled in. But they had to come together to be that team, right? Like Carter Grayson, the Red Ranger, he was a fighter, he had good leadership skills. Chad, he was the aquatics guy. If it was, about water and stuff, sea life, whatever, he knew about it. Joel, as we mentioned, he was the Sky Cowboy, arguably the best and most famous pilot in Mariner Bay, if not the world. You had Kelsey, who was good at extreme sports and extreme situations. And then Dana, the medic. Every good team needs a medic with how reckless they're going to be in the early game especially. But with that being said, all of them had these different things they were good at individually, like you guys, my friends. But when you come together, it also makes that entertainment megazord. So even if you think you're lacking by yourself, you still might be a powerful piece of the entertainment megazord, which is why I use Power Rangers as an analogy to get to that part. Also, speaking of, though, Joel, maybe that's what I'll do for my vehicles in Grand Theft Auto, Aero Rescue 3 was a cool Zord, alright? So I will say that I don't have like a specific theme color for my vehicles in Grand Theft Auto, because everybody already uses all my favorite colors, and I don't want to copy them like some punk, so maybe I'll just make all my vehicles based off of Aero Rescue 3. Because I can't make them all Chiaki colored, that takes away the uniqueness of the Chiaki and the whole intervention thing. So, there we go. Cool. Finally, something in my life has direction, unlike most everything else. So now what I'm going to do is talk about specifics. I'll start with Steam and the mechanics actually over there, because what I want to do now is highlight some things, again, maybe behind the scenes stuff that you don't really get to see in videos of these people. And so with Steam, for example, one of the things I want to highlight with him is we know he's a great artist. We know he's a great artist. He doesn't want to be complacent, so he never actually gives himself credit for his own art. I can respect that as someone who's a perfectionist myself. However, one of the things you maybe don't always see in the videos is how much he actually cares about connecting other people and networking other people, and also just helping other people in whatever ways he can. This year, for example, he's been trying to get as many people VR as possible, even if it's out of his own pocket. Even if he has to ship components through London to be able to do that. And that's the thing about it too. He could be dead asleep, and if you tell him, oh, someone's getting a VR for the first time, whether he helped them or not, he will be there. You'll actually get him to rise out of his slumber for that, because he likes seeing people succeed as well. He could be like, what do they do in London, right? He could be like saluting Big Ben during tea time, or whatever they do in London. I don't know. I just know he hates drill beat, and he'll sprint back home or swim back home or whatever it is. It'll be on the left side because that's what they do over there, I guess. I don't know, whatever. But he will be there for that person, their first time in VR, or their first time in VR chat or a VR game stream, whatever it is. If it's possible to be there for it, he will stop what he's doing and be there for it because he's supportive of his friends and other people, and that's appreciated, Steam. That's actually really good. We know you like title screens, but we also know that you actually do like being supportive of people you can help in any way that you can. Even if that's like networking people, networking artists together, other artists together that they can collab with and help each other build something cool. Odaman. Now, Odaman's cursed, and if you get past all the cursed memes, there's still more cursed memes. The cursed memes actually never end, no matter how well you know Odaman. But with that being said, if you actually need him to be a friend for you, he does know how to turn off the memes and actually be there and supportive of you for either advice, maybe just a shoulder to lean or vent on, etc. Maybe even trying to figure out a solution for you if you can't think about it. He is a robotics teacher. I did get to help him with the robotics curriculum once, which was wild. But one of the things is, as a teacher, he also has like methods and stuff for trying to help people even, or teach people stuff, or help people get through a roadblock that you don't necessarily see in the videos. That is there though. Like, he actually can be a really great friend when you like remove all the cursed memes, and that's always there too, as a matter of fact. He just, like the hi, I'm Odaman stuff, he does that even if you've known him for years. That's like his like thing. It's like the way I say like how do you do at the start of a video, he'll say hi, I'm Odaman even if you've met and you've known each other a decade. So that never goes away. But none of those are cursed memes either, but he can actually be a really good human being, like as a person for you if you really need him there for a reason. Melody, meanwhile, I'm going to mention as well, because Melody, once you asked about if you thought you had your own style. When we see like Steam's art, for example, it's a style. We know Steam's art visibly. We can look at it and see it. I think, Melody, you do too, to answer your question. When I look at like a Table Flips VR chat model, or even some of the other models that you've made or shown off and stuff, there is something distinct about them that is distinctly you. So to answer that question, yes. Secondly, though, she's willing to interrupt me when I ramble. And you might be thinking, that sounds rude. First of all, I've asked people that it's totally fine to do that. When I really get rolling on something that I'm passionate about, we get on a whim, which is 55 minutes, right? So it's perfectly fine to interrupt me, especially if I've told you. And she doesn't do it like rudely either, but she's willing to do that, and I'm actually thankful for that, because I know I can just go on and on and on and on. And it might be annoying. Maybe it's not annoying. Maybe some people are like, no, actually, I knew nothing about that. Keep telling me more. Cool, but like, I understand. Trust me. I'm sorry. I know some of you all watch the whole entirety of On a Whim as well. I appreciate it, but in the future, please, if a video is ever that long, feel free to break that sucker up and watch that in sections. You don't have to watch that all in one go. I thank you, but please, I apologize. Q, as always, is a great DM. Gonna throw that in there. Mechanics in general, I want to highlight something that like Wire and some other people did as well. Just to kind of highlight their supportiveness with an example, is Melody was getting bullied in GTA once. Unfortunately, they were getting target harassed out of everyone in the squad. And when Wire and other people came into the call, and within like the first minute of even learning about what was happening, they all jumped on GTA to go like fight this person instead, right? Like to go like basically this person was bullying Melody. They were like, hey, that's not cool. we're going to jump on and go fight this person back with our Avengers and stuff like that. They didn't say like, hey, you should just get a tougher skin and ignore it and stuff like that, which, yeah, moving a lobby is a better idea at times. Is why closed lobbies, we do that now when we play games like GTA with people. But at the same time, the fact that one of their initial thoughts was, hey, someone's bothering my friend, I'm going to get on and we're going to go handle this person, was, I think, like the camaraderie of it is something I want to highlight about, because that's the thing in mechanics period, where people are working on, like a lot of people in mechanics, they're a creative worker of some sort, as in they're artists or they're 3D artists, or like me, video editor, YouTuber, etc. So it's like advice and stuff we can give each other because we have different expertise that helps each other. And so I think that's something about mechanics in general that's actually really good. Steam will remember this. We remember with Rena's group, Why Rena. Back in the days where like every Saturday we played Jackbox. It was like 8 in the morning my time, so I'd really have to get up if I wanted to participate in the first couple of Jackboxes. But what Rena would do is he would get his squad together, and we played Jackbox. Like go all through all the Jackbox games. And that's actually really fun in a closed session. I know Lote tried that actually. Unfortunately, back in February, there was an incident. But Jackbox, that's kind of a funny one when you have inside jokes you can work off of with people as well. It's kind of like Cards Against Humanity even. We've played that with Digi and some people as well. Hopping over to Digi and Squad, one of the things I want to highlight, and I'm going to start with Digi, of course, and you might see this because he does stream quite often, is he's really good at holding a room by himself. And if you're going to be like a YouTuber or an entertainer or something, his extrovertedness plays into this as well, but he's really good at just taking a topic and just keeping it alive all by himself if he needs to, right? Like, some of us are introvert, and sometimes maybe we have down times, sometimes I've even been silent in calls for a bit, and it's actually because I have a migraine, and I'm kind of just being drained by the migraine. I'll say I'm eating, and I might actually be eating, but why I will stay muted might be I just kind of need this migraine to try and run its course or something before I jump back in on something. And Digi can keep it alive and going like by himself. He can keep a topic alive, maybe even spawn new funny jokes off of it. And I think that's a great like skill to have in this like entertainment kind of like workspace, so to speak. But one thing that you might not see all that often is his vocal range. A lot of people joke he has an anime protagonist voice, right? But he actually has like a spectrum of voices he can do, for some deeper voices all the way to some higher voices you might not always hear or know of, especially if you don't frequent his own streams. So there you go. Graphic. Now, we know Graphic's good with the puns. We know he has the dad jokes and stuff, and that's great. Like, dad jokes really usually don't do no harm to nobody either. They're maybe eye rollers at best, and they become funny to me, especially over this past year. So thanks, Graphic. You've now ingrained that in my my humor. Cool. Awesome. But one of the things he did, I'm going to highlight a specific thing that he did that I hold very valuable. And it was back in June. I was having several weeks. I was having some really bad dreams about friends dying. And in a couple of cases, they were actually pretty bad because they were getting killed by their own phobias. And what I mean is, like, there'd be like an Armageddon of their phobia, and that Armageddon would target people that were afraid of that thing. And so some people were dying for all kinds of craziness. Like the clown one, for example. The clowns wasn't targeting people that weren't afraid of clowns, but were targeting people that were afraid of clowns. So technically, if you didn't bother the clowns, nothing happened. But because they're targeting people you care about, you kind of do got to bother the clowns because you can't let that happen. But so I mean, like there was clowns, sharks, animatronics, spiders. There was all of them at different points. But the most common kind, unfortunately, was people just passing in their sleep. Like, we'd be all in a Discord call, we'd say our goodbyes, or we'd just take off, and the next day people would just not wake up. Like most of the group, at least half of the group, they just passed in their sleep, and it left this really empty feeling that I can't quite describe. And it sucked though. And what Graphic did is, when I explained this, he kind of was able to like interpret what these could mean. These could mean, this could mean. These dreams could mean, basically. And I kind of just have a nice conversation with him about stuff that I hadn't even registered. And once I did, some of the things made sense. And the dreams kind of cleared up after a while as well. I think the heat wave, because we had a severe heat wave, 120 degrees, which in Celsius is roughly, I want to say like 50, 52. Like, it was bad. Up here north, we don't get that kind of weather. We don't got the infrastructure for that. Sorry, I melted. I'm actually a different me. I reincarnated. But at the same time, it was good to have that talk. And that's something Graphic is willing to do. If you get past the puns, and he's a really great designer. He's a graphic designer. That's why his name is Graphic. He's also willing to have those conversations with people when people need like a deep kind of conversation as well. That's something that he's really good at. He might throw some funny in there if it's appropriate though. But sure, he's good at that. So thanks, Graphic. Tanks. So I'm going to throw Tanks in here because Tanks is really good at comeback quips, especially in the past half year, in my opinion. But one of the things Tanks is also good at is reminding people of stuff. I was on Wi-Fi for most of this year too, actually, all the way up until like a couple months ago where I finally got Ethernet cable thanks to Steam's help, because I kept getting reminded by Tanks as well, hey, you know, with the Discord calls and stuff, you've been meaning to get Ethernet, look into that. Or, you know, with Humble Bundle deals and stuff like that. Or even recently with my mouse and stuff, Tanks would be like, hey, you've been trying to look at your mouses and stuff, right? Like your mouse is going out finally. After 10 years, you know, here's this link, or here's maybe a sell, or make sure after Christmas to maybe see if there's any on sale for a discount if you need it. Tanks is really good at that, actually, and I appreciate that, Tanks, so thank you. That's something that Tanks does. Again, and these are things you don't necessarily see in the videos, but these are great things, right? Loat actually is the reason the Discord server gets advertised a bit more, because she helped me set up the verification bot on there. So even though Loat is really good at being a chaos cat and kind of doing like spite, like the opposite of what I say out of spite, one of the things she also is good at is actually being helpful with stuff like that if you do ask, right? As long as you don't come at her sideways first, right? So yeah, the whole verification process to prevent botting. If you're a human, it's a very quick process. It takes like 2 seconds. But if you're a bot, you have a snowball's chance in hell if you're getting through that now. So yeah, that's a thing that's actually thanks to Loat. So thank you, Loat, for that setup. Actually, that's how that works now. So you can thank her for that. Gramps kind of represents the whole idea of that you're never too old to have fun. And even though he's not really that old to begin with, he is like the oldest of us in the group. He could easily, with modern medicine and stuff and taking care of himself, probably live another full lifetime, the life that he's lived now, to be completely honest. But one of the things is he's down to have fun, though. He's not like, oh, I'm too old for video games, I'm too old for these jokes, etc., etc. No, he's a clear representation, actually, that's not really have to be the case. And that's pretty cool, actually. Also, Helicopter Valheim. Whenever we play Valheim, it's been Gramps' fault. So there you go. You can thank Gramps for the Valheim videos. Smith is the clip guy. We know him as the clip guy, but one of the things he actually does pretty well too when it comes to games like ESO and Minecraft and stuff is he's also willing to be very helpful at helping people get supplies or helping people fight bosses and stuff if they need that extra assistance. He's willing to be like, oh hey, I'm making, you know, a community storage. If you need items and stuff and you can't find out in the, you know, the wild, try the storage. It's for everybody. And I think that's worth highlighting because he actually can be very helpful when he wants to be. Sometimes he trolls with the clips and stuff, but when he wants to be helpful, he can be helpful, and he has been helpful in the past. Zbox kind of falls in that category a little bit because he also is willing to be helpful on things like Minecraft and raids and stuff like that. He was also willing to just have fun as well and improvise and make funny moments and also be chill as well. Like the Witness Me. I had to put the Witness Me in the last TTT video because that was hilarious. But also like when it was Heist Week, he was willing to be like, hey, if no one's done the Fleeka job, which gets you the discount on the Kuruma, let's go do it right now. And that's how that video actually came to be, because I was like, cool, you know what? Let me finish some work in the next 30 minutes here and let me jump on there for it. And it only took like an hour. And I gotta go back to work for a bit too, even. That's why. So thanks, Zbox, for that as well. Capstan, honestly, even with all the League of Legends stuff recently where she's determined that I have to teach League of Legends, she really gives me no problems unless I poke her first at this point. And so that's kind of appreciated. I know the Torch Buddy thing is still a thing. That was an adventure from when we were in a Minecraft server for like 4 hours from like it was like 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. We were underground with Digi because he was collecting diamonds and we just kept making him torches. And even if a creeper or something was about to jump and kill us, he'd beeline for the diamonds instead. And now he was nice enough to teleport us back if we did get blown up by a creeper or something. But that's the whole joke there, is we made like over 100 torches probably each so that he could find like a bajillion diamonds, and that's what that joke spawns off of, by the way. But also, yeah, for the most part, I think like half of our conversations are just smug emotes anyways, but she really is actually nicer than maybe it would imply with the killings and stuff like that, like she sometimes joins in on. And we'll get to that in a little bit too, and someone else when it comes to that, more so than Capstan or even Loat with her chaosness. Because with Capstan, she kind of falls into the spite thing as well. Sometimes it's just out of spite, more so than actual dislike, or actual just going against it or wanting to do it. It's just because you don't like it, kind of a thing. But for the most part, she's actually pretty chill, especially behind the scenes. So speaking of Lucy, I'm going to talk about Lucy for 2 reasons. One, because you might be thinking, oh, I'm going to mention like the Placo or something, right? And yes, the Placo was very funny. I still think it's funny. I call that avatar the Placo at this point for that reason. All these people's avatars actually have proper names that I don't actually know about and never asked, to be honest. But like that's why that one's called that, because that was funny. I thought that was funny, and again, that was on the whim to be funny enough with that. That actually has a proper name. I think it's like an operator or something. It would make sense because I kept having to write operator when I was drawing that for the GTA thing. So I'm just gonna fuse operator and Placo. It's the Placerator. That's the name of it. But one thing I want to mention is, and it's probably going to be on screen right now, is when I mentioned in the whim that people had like the same poses and thumbnails, because I really didn't take pictures of people often nor ask them for pictures often. So if you're getting tired of that and you wanted to hit me up or something, let me know. She went and actually took another picture of that. And now I have that to use in thumbnails. It's probably, at least that one's on the screen right now, if it wasn't already. for that reason. That was actually just incredibly nice of her. She actually watched the video, heard that part, and did that. That was cool. But also, speaking of niceness, because a lot of people might think, oh, yeah, they hate your guts. They kill you all the time. Back when we started TTT, I'm talking the very beginning, she was willing to stay in calls after everybody left and just explain things to me about the game because I knew nothing about Gary's Mod or TTT. And she did that for like easily a week straight unless she had to go to work immediately as well too. And she did not mind it as far as I knew, just explaining to me how things worked. And I was actually incredibly kind of her to do. And basically the TLDR is she's actually a lot nicer than you might think she is, even to me, that you don't see on the videos. And a lot of that's for entertainment purposes, right? Like in one of the recent TTT videos, she killed me and then she typed it was for old time's sake, right? Like that's partly because people find it funny and entertaining, but she does not hate my guts like actually, as some people probably don't think, but in case you did, I want to clarify that with this part in this video. Battle Achiever. So Battle Achiever is just great. That's why he has his own channel and Lote server. But furthermore, one of the things about Battle as well is he's also willing to not like go too far and cross a line with jokes, unless he's willing to take that back. Like if he says something and it bothers somebody enough to clap back with enough severity the same way, then he's like, you know what, that's deserved because of where I went. Most of the time we all apologize if something like that actually happens, and so that's why I want to put Battle in this part of the video too, because like recently I learned with the Be the Bot thing in the Gramps laugh, the recent Gramps edition of her laugh, it was what got me into a little bit of trouble, though that debt's kind of bogus, not for the debt itself, but the implementation of it. You're supposed to be fellow business people, is what I've been told by Tableflip, unless Tableflip has been using B as an excuse just because he wants to shoot at me and all the games that we play. But business-wise, I expect the implementation of a debt to be more... apparently B is not a huge fan of her own laugh. Even though I think it's great, which is why I bring it up all the time. I can understand that people don't like certain things about themselves, so I'm totally fine with... just stopping and doing that. That's why that debt exists. We're not at war with the debt, by the way, for the sake of the debt. I've been in debts before and I've beaten them all. I'll beat this one too. However, the principle of how it was enacted is what bothers me, of why now I've recruited Blau, speaking of Team Gam, to do a Tableflip, because maybe Tableflip's also just talking on B's behalf, and she's actually never said any of this, and he just wanted an excuse to kill me in games, because like, that actually would make sense. There was a time he blew me, Mitchie, and Lucy up, and so now Lucy got unleashed on him and killed him like 3 times. Tableflip, do you have a problem? You just want to talk this out? Or maybe this was actually B's words, by the way. But with that being said, now that I'm aware of that, for example, that stops. That's kind of how that works basically within the group as well, and so there you go. But speaking of Tableflip though, shenanigans aside, there's a reason that he's going to be joining us for Thankmas as well. Tableflip is a good guy. And back in October, when he was streaming Ultra Despair Girls, he did bring me in to do some voice work. Fortunately, that particular game is voiced a lot, so we didn't have to do a lot of work on our throats. He even kept me around though for like inscription streams and stuff too. And it is really fun playing games with him because he has the same mindset of, it's really fun playing games with people and doing things with people. And so that's part of the reason why we're going to be doing, well, I don't know what we're doing yet on Saturday, but we're going to be doing something together on Saturday. But also he's also a really chill guy ultimately, and even all these like B botic antics aside that he might be lying on B about that I need to actually investigate now, we'll see. It's also, in all seriousness, still a very fun person to play with, so thanks, Table. You're still flighty as all get out. Y'all roasted my marksman skills like he ain't been someone that's pissed you off trying to shoot him as well. Got me laughing about that. That's why I had to put that in the last TTT video. Like, pause. You saw me if I paused it. Shoot him in the head and he just didn't die. So we all have to suffer that 60 seconds now, alright? It's not just y'all. I'm in it, alright? I was living it. I hated it too. Don't worry. But anyways, yeah. So even talking about some other people that have like popped up more recently, or even for a long time, right? Like Chrono and Blue and that squad over there, even like Blau. I mentioned he's been part of Team Gam for like a year. Let's go Blau. But even like with Blue and Chrono and people, one of the nice things about them is a lot of people actually, and that's what I mean. A lot of people can kind of fit in this category. They weren't mean to somebody off the gates. They weren't like, oh, I hate your voice, go away. Or I hate your name, go away. A lot of people took the time to be open enough to people to be like, hey, maybe you'll be someone that's going to be nice to know in the future. Let's get to know each other and let's see how this works out. I kind of value that too a bit. I think that's actually a skill for a lot of these people, because in the world we live in, it's very easy to kind of just be like, no, I'm done with people, I'm done with new people, and kind of call it good. But no, we're actually a pretty open group, and when new people come around, as long as they're like decent people, decent human beings and stuff, we're willing to kind of incorporate them and stuff and everything. Like for me, like Gamaflage and Mitchie and some people have been pretty new, Kyoko, even more recently, have been kind of some new people that have came around. They've meshed because they're actually decent people. They're funny people, they're chill people, they don't take things too far, they kind of vibe with the group, etc, etc. So, you know, with that being said, shout outs to all of those people. Anybody that I haven't mentioned that you feel like you should have been mentioned by now, this is your spot, because I think that's actually a pretty cool thing. And maybe you just haven't been around long enough for me to have a lot of individual memories with yet, because a lot of people I mentioned in this video I've known for years at this point, or at least a year and a half at this point, so that's part of why that is. But thank you, because that's the thing. At the end of the day, right, you don't know necessarily. I mentioned the dreams earlier, and I'm not going to get into it too much, but sometimes that does happen in real life, where like you go to bed one night, you wake up, someone's gone, something's happened, an accident's happened, or something worse medically has happened, and someone's just gone, and that's it, and that's the last conversation you had with them, and stuff like that. And it's really unfortunate that that can happen in life. So what I want to end this video on is to make sure, you know, just enjoy those moments that you have with those friends as much as you can, as best as you can, to the fullest extent. And hopefully you make all those memories and great moments and stuff. So whenever your last sunset is, you can look back on all of those days and be like, you know what? This was worth it. I spent great time with great people that are great and do great things with and on their own too as well. So not to end on as somber of a note, but just make sure to appreciate people. Right, like for example, you know, support people even too. Steam likes watching people succeed. I love watching people succeed and just be happy, right? Like a lot of the squad I mentioned from before the old days with League and stuff, and even some people now, right now, they're enjoying Final Fantasy 14 Endwalker. Those queue times are nasty. I hope the people that you can get around those can have fun with Endwalker as well. I've seen people that have gotten around those, having fun with it, so that's great. I love watching my friends have a good time. I know that some of them are going to be gone for a while. Like we're not going to see Lucy for like 3 months. She's just gone now until like March. But on an all serious note, I'm happy to see that, though, stuff like that. And I'm happy that people can succeed and do the things that they want to do and get where they're trying to get to, bit by bit even. And it's fun. It's great. It's enjoyable. And I wish them all the luck, just like I like my friends. And this is kind of a ramble, so there we go. That's in the video. Thank you so much for watching this video. Appreciate your friends. I love my friends. And we'll see you all in the next video. So I don't know which video will be next. We just have to wait and see. So until next time, take care. And enjoy pizza responsibly. Thank you for watching.